Hello and welcome to MLW Confusion. I'm your host Rob Cameron, bringing you all that you may or may not need to know about Major League Wrestling and its television programming. This week we are going from the Pinnacle to the Pit. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's MLW Pit Fighters, but first, the news. First of all, we get a couple bit of, I don't know if it's not even a spoiler at this point, because they announced it during Pit Fighters itself before the batch of emails came out to officially announce this. But at Slaughterhouse, that is October 4th, St. Petersburg, Florida, we have a National Openweight Championship match as Bad Dude Tito looks to defend the championship against Matthew Justice. They planted the seeds for this fight this past month, and it's finally going to happen. We got some developments coming out of Pit Fighters, of course, leading up to the official announcement of this here match. So we will see if Bad Dude Tito can. I was going to say keep the momentum going, but dude just lost his last match. Like he's probably back. He's pretty. He's I don't know. I'm trying to head math because I was going to call him like Mr. Insert Number here based on his win percentage. I'm just going to assume he's still like Mr. like 666 or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll correct it later and give a proper number to assign to Bad Dude Tito. But anyway, and to kind of piggyback off this real quick, because I didn't add it to my notes, but I remember seeing an article about it. But it has also been announced via the dirt sheets that Matthew Justice has signed a new contract with MLW as well, so he is going to be with MLW for the foreseeable future. A pretty good get to keep with the company, of course. Justice, well, going for the National Openweight Championship, but is also a former tag team champion. And they've, thrown him in a pairing with one Bill Alfonso as well. So we will see if this leads to a sustained bout of excellence. That's a fancy way of saying, I wonder if they're going to bother to push him now that he's got a new contract in line. Anyway, but we will see how this goes. Also announced indirectly for Slaughterhouse. This one's not quite an announcement, but we'll call it the rumor mill, because I follow this wrestler. He's known as the Cheese because he's the best wrestler on this show. He's better than the bologna and the salami combined. However, he has put up a graphic that he will be at MLW Slaughterhouse himself. So I am excited for him to get this opportunity. Do I think he is going to be featured in a marquee matchup? No, I don't. But good on him for making it to MLW. That is going to be nothing to sneeze at. Also, we got a whole laundry list of names coming out of Lucha Apocalypto November 9th in Cicero Stadium in Cicero, Illinois. They call it Chicago. It's the suburbs, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, so we got 6 more names coming up as Hechiera. I butcher his name so badly, and I apologize for this, ladies and gentlemen. If I was a real podcaster, I would edit all this out. But you know what? I like keeping it 100 with you guys. Like, I keep it real. Speak my mind, for better or for worse, piss poor takes, bad pronunciations, all of it. But Hechicero is the man's name, and he is the latest name announced for Lucha Apocalypto. Also this week, Barbaro Cavanario, Atlantis Jr., yeah, he's coming back, Ring of Honor television champion. Also Titan, and we're getting some Luchadora action here for once, as Yuvia makes her debut for MLW as well. So, slaughtered my way through all those names. I apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. So we're just going to keep on moving. Never mind all that. Keep on moving. Kings of Coliseum is coming to Dallas, Texas, January 11th. Be on the lookout if you're in the area. Tickets are on sale coming next week, October 2nd, for those of you playing along at home that are going to be looking for tickets automatically. MLW, of course, brings up a pretty darn good show, so get tickets while you can. But there we go. There's the news. We got our Ghost reference in for the Pinnacle to the Pit. Let's go ahead and talk about Pit Fighters, shall we? We got ourselves a show that's almost entirely some sort of gimmick match. We are welcomed to the show by Joe Dombrowski, Christian Cole, our standard commentary team for the past year or so. Not quite a full year yet, but we got the ropes replaced. We got some tighter white ropes. Turnbuckle pads have been replaced with the giant elongated pads that you would see, such as old Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I'm really hoping that we have a Toru Yano appearance here, so he can rip the pads off and try to use it as a weapon. I'm not holding my breath nor betting any money on that there occurrence happening, though. What we do have is the faux horsemen, the rogue horsemen in their Arena Football League logo coming out. BRG is going to be doing all the talking. He runs down the crowd. He runs down the Bomaye Fight Club. He puts over Bobby Fish as a verifiable legend. Talks about all the people that Bobby Fish has been put in the ring in with, and ignoring the fact that Bobby Fish has lost most of those matches to the legends in BRG's mind. So take that as your will. But this is ultimately going to lead into our first match of the evening, and the only one without some sort of bizarre gimmick attached to it, as Kevin Knight makes his MLW debut against Bobby Fish, who is being quartered, I guess, by the Rogue Horseman. Fish is reluctant to start the party. Evidently, he hasn't had his 45 minutes of stretching yet. But when he finally is ready to go, Knight is ready for him. Knight gets all the graps. The Andersons, though, happen to run distraction for Fish. Unfortunately, really, outside of a quick blow, Knight is immediately just back at it. More Anderson drama, more comeback material from Knight. We get a springboard clothesline, only gets 2 count off that. Knight launches himself over the turnbuckle, from one side of the turnbuckle over to the arena floor, over the top of that, takes out the Andersons, who for once weren't doing anything. But, there's half of your distractions taken away, or I guess it's technically 2/3 of your distractions, plus the guy that's still in the ring that you're not attacking. Anyway, because he spends so much time taking out the Andersons, he done misses a springboard frog splash, and that spells the beginning of the end, as we get a running elbow, and Knight is down for the count. Your winner, Bobby Fish. Following this, it looks like we're going to get a Horseman beatdown, but then the Bomaye Fight Club come out. Alex Kane has some words for the Horsemen, specifically Bobby Fish and BRG, but he throws some cheap shots at the Andersons as well. The Horsemen, bugger off, because no point in fighting something that resembles a fair fight in here. Before Kane turns around and extends his hands to Knight. He basically says, hey, I know you're the new guy here, but it's not safe to wander MLW by yourself. You need some folks to watch your back for you. You've got skill. We've trained together. You've trained at the Bomaye complex. Join us. Become a member of the Bomaye Fight Club. And hey, Knight accepts it. Not a bad team to join up with for someone that is testing out the waters at MLW. But Kevin Knight is now a member of the Bomaye Fight Club. Of course, the joke is going to be he'll appear for one more match and then mysteriously disappear like he was never in the Bomayes. So it was nice knowing you, Kevin. I'm ready for your tag team match before you fade away and are just not seen in MLW ever again. That joke aside, this match was quick and basically told the story that the ref shouldn't allow any horsemen ringside, let alone 4 of them. Because there was nothing inherently wrong with it, but it was just Kevin Knight does a couple of moves, now the Andersons get involved. But he doesn't stay down. He takes one hit and then he's back on the offense. Oh, look, the Andersons again. But so that was kind of wash, rinse, and repeat. But, if nothing else, it was short and inoffensive. Really what annoys me the most out of this is the extension to the Bomayes. And I don't want to put Mr. Thomas or Alex Kane down, but MLW doesn't have a great track record with guys in the Bomaye Fight Club, especially if they have a name. So I'm just gonna sit there and see how long we're gonna have Kevin Knight for, and see how well he acclimates to the Bomayes. Sorry, we had a serviceable match, and I'm pessimistic already. Anywho, backstage, Mr. Saint Laurent is with Tom Lawlor. They're basically calling out our favorite fast food breakfast sandwich, calling him a fake tough guy. Of course, we'll have the Vale Tudo match here as our main event, I guess. That's what we're going to call it. Anyway, AKIRA is preemptively dipping his hands in the broken glass for his Taipei Death match. He will make his mark on Akira Kwon and take his pound of flesh, win, lose, or draw. Looks like our second match is for the Featherweight Championship in a Tae Kwon Do style match. It is Janai Kai defending her championship against Delmi Exo with the Azteca Goons with her. Everyone's got some geese for this, so we are eschewing all forms of professional wrestling for this here match. The referee kind of sort of gives us the rules, and the one rule he just states out loud is no hits below the belt. Nothing below the waist. Everybody understand? Clean fight? Cool beans. So, we really don't get an understanding of what any of the rules are outside of don't kick below the waist. Commentary does try to put over the fact that, Taekwondo is all about the throws and kicks, so we're expecting that, but they don't say, no pinfalls or, what the criteria actually is for victory. But Kai is just, peppering little kicks to Exo, kind of taunting her, both physically with the kicks and verbally as well. Delmi does get a chance to fight back a little bit, but the big story here is that Kai is trying to work over Exo's left arm, which was pseudo-injured a couple of weeks ago by Miyu Yamashita. Anyway, yeah, so Kai's getting these pepper kicks in. Delmi finally has enough, starts throwing chops, throwing strikes of her own. Of course, Kai chooses to eat most of these with a smile on her face, but the chops she really wasn't terribly happy about. We go out to the floor after Delmi gets the advantage, and actually, before we get there, I want to throw up, at one point, Delmi goes to the ground, and the referee actually steps in, and commentary puts over the fact that in Taekwondo, anytime if someone goes down, ref is supposed to step in, separate everyone, and see if they can continue. So, he does that, and Kai gets kind of a cheap shot in there in the process. Also noted, there's been a handful of cheap shots. Both competitors were doing, upper thigh kicks, too, which I believe are below the waist. Anywho, still going on with that. But yeah, so we go to the arena floor, because my notes are a jumble. Kai takes out both Lucha Goons and just kind of tosses Delmi about the ring. We come back inside, and Kai just decides to end it. She, full on is, roundhouse kicking Delmi's arm. Delmi's on the ground. The referee doesn't do anything about this. So there was no separation like there was earlier. So that's the reason I brought the separation before, just to point out that he didn't bother this time because nobody really knows what the rules are. Ultimately, though, Kai takes a hold of Delmi's left arm and just starts teeing off with it with stiff kicks before the referee stops the fight. Your winner and still featherweight champion, Janai Kai, via ref stoppage. And, dude, I'm not sure what the point of this match was. Literally, Delmi Exo is not, she is a type of striker, but she's a forearm chop kind of person. She is not a martial artist per se. So we've thrown her into this match that she's, that is not in her wheelhouse at all. And, yes, we could try to tell the story that, she's so desperate to get the title that, she's willing to take any match that she can to do this. But however, they didn't explain the rules, at all. And then when the commentary tried to cover for it, the match itself didn't follow through with that, especially with the finish of Delmi on the ground taking repeated kicks, and the ref just eventually just stopped the match, didn't separate competitors in the process. The match was plotty, because it was just a bunch of kicks, and Delmi's not a strong kicker, so there wasn't a lot of drama. There wasn't the ups and downs you really expect from a wrestling match. It was just a prolonged squash almost. Well, without the benefit of cool moves in the process. I don't know. That was just honestly just like I felt bad for him because it's kind of a waste of everybody's time. And like this is me being needlessly harsh on this, but like really this match was just kind of brutal to watch. And like I put that on the booking. I don't put that on the wrestlers because they do what they can with what they're given. But anyway, so I'm tired of complaining about that. Like I don't want to seem like I'm hate watching these things because I'm really not. I don't want to hate watch this. But we have an extended video package for Mystico. Kind of like the footage is kind of like just following him around, especially at Fightland where he got to win the Opera Cup. But he does talk about how lucha libre is Mexican culture. So if you see a lucha mask, that is a tie to Mexico, and just putting over like how proud he is to be able to represent Mexico in all of his successes in Mexico and in the United States. And he's going to do what he can to keep the middleweight championship and the Opera Cup in his camp. I was going to say around his waist, but that wouldn't make sense for the Opera Cup. Following this, we get footage of Ultimo Guerrero laying down the challenge to Satoshi Kojima. It has been announced that at Slaughterhouse, Kojima will be defending the MLW Heavyweight Championship against Ultimo Guerrero. And like, okay, let's go ahead and like take a pause for the cause. Let's get ourselves an energy drink. Maybe that'll perk us up a little bit. Maybe my mood a little bit better. So let's get an energy drink. I don't know. Hit up the links. Get yourself some WWE Shop merch. Get a new coffee maker. Get some Prince Nana coffee. I just got some in the mail yesterday, and brewed me some up this morning. And like the Asian blend, pretty darn good. But yeah, so we'll take about 30 seconds, and I'll see you here in a minute. If you're like me, sometimes you need a pick-me-up to get you through the day. I drink Ray's Energy for that pickup. Ray's comes in a bunch of different flavors, and more recently Italian Ice, which is great, by the way. And it contains no sugar, so there's no crash after you drink it. And really, like best of all, if you go through me and go to wetrepsports.com, use my code CASS, you get 15% off your order. So also, be like Cass, drink Ray's Energy. All right, we are back for our next match. It is the Barrio Brawl. Jesus Rodriguez versus... Oh, nope, the match is starting already. Jesus comes out. He's ready to go, except he's not ready to go because Matthew Justice comes out with a swing and a steel chair and just tees off on Jesus on the stage. Bill Alfonso's flanking Justice. And... no rules for this match, just pinfall, just submission. I assume it has to take place in the ring. Either way, spoiler alert, that's where it's going to end, despite all the brawling everywhere else. So, like, they are fighting all around the arena. Jesus is thrown off the stage at one point, and they're fighting in the crowd. Like, occasionally Jesus would get, like, some offense in, but, like, not for long, not for any prolonged periods of time. At least not until they finally like start fighting in the ring proper. But in the meanwhile, like we got a door in the ring, we got a table ringside. We got Giga everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. But speaking of Giga, we got some crazy stuff. So as I said, like Justice was pretty much, in charge of the beatdown here up until we get a slapjack. That's right, we got ourselves a loaded sock, ladies and gentlemen, and Jesus is just done being beaten up and it just is swinging away with his loaded sock onto Justice. And fortunately, though, like it all seems like it's all well and good, but really, like, no, it's not. Like, he takes a shot at Fonzie, and Fonzie basically waits for Jesus to go up to the top rope, and then chucks a chair at Jesus, who promptly falls off the rope through the table placed at ringside. Justice gets another table out, ready and raring to go. He climbs up onto, I don't know really what you want to call it, because it's not a balcony. It's just the area over the tunnel. So like if you haven't seen Center Stage yet, like they have two tunnels kind of like catty corner, if you're facing away from the Trons, facing straight back that way, and there's two tunnels, and of course, so there's like a little like area before seating like restarts above the tunnel, and so Justice climbs up over there and then launches himself onto Jesus through the table that's outside the ring, and like he clears some distance on that. Like it wasn't like he wasn't super high up, but that was a long jump he had to make to crash through that table anywhere near safely for anybody involved. We wander into the ring. We get a Death Valley driver through the door in the corner, finishing things off with the Van Terminator, getting the 1, 2, 3, as if there was going to be any doubt who's going to win this match. Your winner, Matthew Justice. And after the match, Bad Dude Tito appears out of nowhere, lays out Justice with a steel chair, hits him with the tequila screwdriver through said chair, busting him open, possibly hard way. So Justice is a bloody mess at this point, as Bad Dude Tito is all ready and hyped up and raring to go. Following this beatdown, we get a little teeny tiny video hyping up the debut of Trevor Lee. He is sophisticated now. I thought it looked like he got himself a haircut. That's crazy go nuts to me because I don't think I've ever seen that man with short hair. He has always kind of looked like a caveman, even when they were pretending he was wealthy in NXT. But yeah, so he is coming to Fightland. He's taking on Donovan Dijak in there. Hey, speaking of Dijak, spoiler alert, because this is also painful. We are going to get a boxing versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu exhibition. It is, we're told, Randall Hoyce taking on Danny Stratos, and I just figured, because I have no clue who either of these guys are, that shenanigans are going to occur, and eventually they do, but not before we have a boxer and a mixed martial artist like pretending to take swings and kicks at each other and really not doing anything. But thank Jeebus. Oh, this was even more painful than the Tae Kwon Do match. Thank Jeebus, Donovan Dijak appears. He is hijacking the show and taking out both competitors and their entourages too. So yeah, thankfully he saves the day. Unfortunately, his promo wasn't that great though, because he's basically just like, he's here to kill everyone. Yeah. Look at that. I heard a boxer. Look at that. I hit some guy that does mixed martial arts. Whoa. Hijack. But the important thing is he stopped this match, because that was painful too. And it was blatantly just a setup for, in this case, Dijak to come in there. Like, as soon as as soon as I realized I didn't know anybody, I just knew somebody's coming in and cleaning house, and I wasn't wrong there. Following this, we get another hype package for the Faux Horsemen, kind of going over their formation, and then at Fightland, JBL coming in, talking to Brock Anderson and taking Mr. Thomas's head off. JBL is seen leaving the arena, and they're trying to get a word with him, and JBL just walks off because no one else has been able to get a word out of JBL. I don't know why these guys thought they would be any different, but, what do I know? From there, we get a video from Paul Walterhauser. He says he's coming back to MLW. Like, he's missed everyone there. He misses his extended MLW family. Just spends the time, name dropping a bunch of names and how he's going to come back, and then just, starts trashing JBL because, he totally stands a chance against JBL. I know JBL's old and falling apart at this point, but he's got, a foot on Walterhauser and is still just a crazy Texan who's willing to, work stiff. But hey, we got Hollywood back in MLW. Cheers. All right, we are finally ready for our Atlanta street fight. It is the Notorious BRG versus Alex Kane. BRG has the mic, and it's going to be sweet victory tonight, at least according to BRG. However, Kane is out with his Beaumaye entourage. They also have a garbage can filled with goodies as well. So anyway, BRG starts the party off with a throat thrust, gets some strikes in, goes for his patented sweet victory short arm clothesline, but Kane's like, nah, son, we go into Suplex City, and that's what happens. Kane's just throwing BRG everywhere, various types of suplex. We're going outside. We got a cookie sheet. We're teeing off with the cookie sheet. However, Kane takes too long, like, jaw jacking with the crowd and getting a chant going and dancing, that BRG has time to recover and then do the rope kick style low blow as Kane looks to enter the ring. However, like, this is not really, like, BRG's forte. He does get some good shots in with some cookie sheets and the baseball bat, but, like, really it's the eye pokes that keep him in the game. However, yeah, they didn't keep him in the game long as BRG is placed in the trash can, and Kane just really goes to town with the baseball bat. Gets our first 2 count out of the way off of that. A big German suplex only gets 2. BRG has a gold bar for some odd reason and knocks Kane almost out. Only a 2 count of that, which just shocks pretty much everybody. I thought that was going to be the end myself, so like I was really surprised. Following this, BRG goes up top. He has a chain wrapped around his fist, misses the fist drop though. Kane lands a fisherman's suplex, hangs on in the cradle to get the 3 count. Your winner, Alex Kane. From there, the faux horsemen are out, and they are using the numbers advantage, well, to their advantage, taking out Mr. Thomas, taking out Alex Kane. You know who's not to be found? New member of the Beaumaye Fight Club, Kevin Knight. So we are off to a great start with that relationship as the horsemen stand tall to end the segment. Yeah, things picked up. Like this, like there was a lot of kind of like we'll call a shtick in this match. There's a lot of like playing to the crowd. It was a little bit slow, but like, you know what? We had enough of like the proper violence to go along with it that it didn't seem like a slog. Like we got all the cookie sheet spots. We got the trash can. We got the thumbs to the eyes. The gold bar. Who saw a gold bar coming? But like it totally fits with BRG's modus operandi of being really fancy and bougie. But yeah, so like I really can't complain too much about that match, especially because after that last match, man, or that exhibition, I can't say much of anything. But things are picking up even further. Our next match is the Taipei Death match. AKIRA Kwon of Contra battles Catch Death, AKIRA. Going into AKIRA's wheelhouse of deathmatch wrestling is Kwon. We'll see how that turns out for him. We are doing another round of glass rolling in the ring. They don't bother to like take the dish that the guys dip their fists in. Like it's just gonna still sit there as the match starts. AKIRA does some grappling, shows he can wrestle, goes for various pinning combinations. That's the word I'm looking for. Various pinning combinations. Basically, just an excuse to roll Kwon through into the glass. It doesn't, nowhere near a 3 count off of that, but it can't feel good because glass is just spilled all over at this point because they were stomping around that bowl. Finally, like though, AKIRA has enough trying to wrestle, and he wants the blood. AKIRA has a fork. He is channeling Abdullah the Butcher and digs away at Kwon's forehead, stabbing him repeatedly. And this is our first proper blood in the match. Kwon's got himself a couple of little cuts on his forehead, but he is bleeding. However, he does stand his ground, takes a bunch of strikes. In the process of everything, but AKIRA really wants to play the strike game too. So like he's throwing a batch of strikes, and they're pretty good. But Kwon strikes better and drops AKIRA with a kick. Luckily though, AKIRA, well, in theory, luckily AKIRA stops himself from going into the glass. Unfortunately, there's a big double stomp, putting AKIRA face first in the glass, and he is messed up, at least physically, by appearance, because he Crimson Mask already, ladies and gentlemen. This goes into a Uranagi into the glass. Only gets a 2 count off that by Kwon. AKIRA looks to be kicked repeatedly and fired up, doing that classic spot of like, yeah, hit me harder, yeah. Lots of back and forth strikes. Kwon hits a German suplex, only gets 2 off of that. We get the fork. The fork is back out. We are getting a fork rake and a power bomb by 2 by AKIRA. Kwon goes for a frog splash, gets stabbed in the stomach. Like they're like implying that it's like sticking out of his stomach, and obviously it's just Kwon just holding the fork there. Follow this up. Akira gets some locks him in the crossface. Follow up with crossface style forearms as well. Not enough to put away Kwon. Kwon hits a pop-up neck breaker, gets a long 2 count, followed up by a brainbuster. That only gets 2 as well. We are fighting up on the top rope, and we get more fork stabbing. Cutthroat burning hammer only gets 2. I thought that was going to be it right there, because really nobody should be getting up from burning hammer, but what do I know? However, Kwon still has the mist inside of him, sprays the burning mist in Akira's face, followed up by the shining wizard, and that's how Akira is going to stay down. Your winner of the match, Akira Kwon. And this match didn't disappoint, and it got like some of the loudest pops of the evening. So like, I'm not gonna say this match made like pit fighters worth it, because it didn't, like, overall. But like, this was a darn good match, and showed, I feel like for folks that may not be quite as attuned to some of the creativity involved in deathmatch wrestling, they got a taste of it here tonight without necessarily getting like too graphic. I mean, obviously Akira was a bloody mess, but like as a whole, like the violence wasn't necessarily too gratuitous that like, that should turn too many people off. Of course, some people are going to complain, but they're going to complain anytime that there's some blood, forgetting that, wrestling's filled with blood, especially if there's a cage involved. No cage tonight, though. But, darn good match. I was a fan of it. Liked it. Picked things up. But speaking of Contra, Mads Kruger calls Satoshi Kojima a wounded animal that he's going to hunt until he gets the World Heavyweight Championship from. Obviously forgetting that he had a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship 2 weeks ago and got himself disqualified on purpose. From here, allegedly, we have a main event. I guess Akira and Kwon wasn't the main event. I don't know. I'm told our favorite fast food breakfast sandwich had the Vale Tudo match with Filthy Tom Lawlor. Ernest the Cat Miller was a judge, and I guess the real news is that WTF lost another member because, they can't keep people. But allegedly, Filthy Tom Lawlor lost this match, and MSL kicked him out of WTF, with Donovan Dijak coming out to seal the deal, putting Lawlor down. So I hope this is not the end of Filthy Tom Lawlor, and that he gets to hang around a bit, maybe get some revenge on MSL, fight the team that he helped put together, or at least the stable that he helped put together. But yeah, so allegedly that was the main event. But I'm just going to pretend, because I didn't have a monitor at that time, I'm just going to pretend that Akira and Kwon was the main event, and that was a darn good main event. I'm happy to have caught it. But yeah, so that is the end of Pit Fighters, and no sir, didn't care for it. I again, I don't want to sound like I hate watching things, because I don't watch MLW just to bash it. Like, I want to enjoy my professional wrestling, and Fightland was pretty good, actually. Like, bell to bell was pretty good. Did I have a lot of questions? Yeah, I had a lot of questions, but I was entertained during the matches, and that's ultimately that's the important thing. I can't say that completely with Pit Fighters. It's really hard to do a full card of gimmick matches and make it mean something, especially because a lot of these, I'm just going to throw out there, a lot of these matches, had gimmicks, for no good reason, because, I'll throw out the Barrio Brawl. Was I entertained by the Barrio Brawl? Yes, I was entertained by the Barrio Brawl, but, the premise to get there was flimsy. This is the first match of the feud, and we're already doing the hardcore stuff. What do you, I know it's not against Bad Dude, but, where are you going to go with that? You had a blood feud start with the hardcore stuff, and is it going to end with just a regular match? That's kind of lame. I mean, I'm not saying it is, but, we will see. And, so, and then we had, but then we had, matches, the exhibition with boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that, we already know Dijak is a beast. We don't need to waste our time with 5 minutes of guys just throwing lame strikes at each other. We didn't need that. There were other ways that we could have put over Dijak as a threat. The Tae Kwon Do match was a farce. And again, I don't blame the competitors for that. They made do. They told the story that they were told to do, but there was no narrative reason for it to be Tae Kwon Do, especially if Delmy is not a strong kicker. And then we're not even going to like touch the continued use of the fast food breakfast sandwich in MLW as well, let alone being the number one contender. But yeah, so I can't say, like, outside of its shiny moments of like Kane versus BRG, like, was a fun match. The Barrio Brawl, fun match. Obviously, I'm not going to put over, I can't put over the Taipei Death match enough, but it was bogged down by like the everything else again. And this time, there wasn't enough like really good matches to like save the show compared to like Fightland, where again, like, wrestling's good. Yeah, wrestling. We didn't have that. We didn't necessarily have that to save us this time. So I'm hoping we turn things around for Slaughterhouse. That is looking to, like, outside of a couple of misgivings, looks to be a fun show. So I'm holding out for that, looking forward to that, especially, again, the Weapons of Mass Destruction match, which I'm almost not sure, again, narratively speaking, why that's going to happen, since AKIRA has fallen once again to Contra. But either way, if those guys are just allowed to go, like, that's going to be a fun match. And so I'm not going to complain too terribly much about the narratives around it until I'm forced to complain about the narratives around it, because this is what I get paid the big bucks to do. But yeah, so as I said, keeping it 100. Like, not a fan of the show. It did have its shining moments, but there wasn't enough shining moments to make it, super duper fun. Is one of the weaker efforts MLW's put out in quite some time. But I'm not going to beat this dead horse. So, but you know what? Maybe you don't agree with me. Let me know. Like, I guess Spotify has comments now, so, leave comments. And of course, do all the stuff that the plugs are going to tell you to do at the end to help a small podcast out. In the meanwhile, I do appreciate you listening to me complain and, like, try to play armchair booker about things too. So thank you all for giving this a listen. Next week's gonna be a really big week, so if everything goes according to plan, like, I'm excited about it, but I've been burned before with my big announcements, so I'm just gonna vague post that. But big week hopefully next week. And if nothing else, we are bringing back The Chosen in a couple of weeks, so be on the lookout for that interview with Eric Esnight coming up here in the near future too. So thank you all for listening. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you all next week. MLW Confusion is a weekly podcast that is written and performed by Rob Kammer and hosted by Spotify for podcasters. MLW Confusion is part of the Urban Wrestling Network, and you can check them out and check out the Major League Pod on YouTube at Urban Wrestling NW. The background music for this section is Ruined by Day, performed by Alan Schroeder. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to support, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends, family, and enemies. Leaving a review is also helpful. Word of mouth of advertisement is very important for small podcasts such as this. Social media links can be found in the description, but Twitter and Instagram are at the Nova of Cass, TheNovaofCass, and Facebook is at MLW Confusion, all one word. If you'd like to support monetarily and help upgrade my equipment, please check out my virtual chip jar at ko-fi.com/Casanova. Or if you prefer more bang for your buck, you can go to patreon.com/Casanova, CASSONOVA, where for as little as $2, backers get access to the podcast early and without those pesky ads, plus other exclusive content. So join the crew that is headed up by Keith Wynn, Alan Schroeder, Alex McCarthy, and Elenia, and check it out. You can also find t-shirts, coffee mugs, and other merch at the Confusion Podcast on Teespring. Also, be sure to check out the description to find some affiliate links for, WWE merch, coffee machines, ice makers, and much more. For business inquiries such as ads and sponsorships, please email rzkammer, that's Kamerer, at comcast.net. Thank you for listening.